So let's talk about the world of financial planning and analysis, or FP&A. We're going to break down how you go from being a number cruncher, someone who just reports on the past, to becoming a true strategic architect for your business, someone who literally turns data into action.
All right, picture this. Your CFO walks over to your desk, looks you in the eye, and asks this exact question. I mean, that's the moment of truth, right? Do you just spit out a number, or do you have a story, a strategy? The quality of that answer is what modern FP&A is all about. Okay, so let's set the stage. The situation for most companies today is that they are absolutely drowning in data. They know everything about what happened last quarter, last week, even 5 minutes ago. But what they're starving for is a guide, a navigator for the future. And this is maybe the best way to think about it. Accounting, that's the ship's logbook. It's an absolutely essential, perfect record of every port you visited. But FP&A? No, you're the navigator. You're at the helm, using that logbook to chart the course for where the ship is going.
Okay, so this right here, this is basically your job description in 6 steps. Now, it's super easy to get stuck in steps 1 and 2, just pulling data and organizing it. But the real magic, the real value of FP&A happens right here, at step 3, turning all that information into a genuine insight that actually leads to a smart decision.
All right, so that brings us to the big problem, the complication for any business: deep, gnawing uncertainty. Management is always wrestling with these huge questions about what's coming next, and they are looking directly at you to be the one with the map and the compass.
And you know what? When you get right down to it, your whole job is really about answering these 3 critical questions. Where are we right now? Where are we headed? And most importantly, what can we do to change that course for the better? It's not about giant reports, it's about clear, confident answers. This is your mission.
And this is where that idea of business partnering comes in. It's a huge part of the job. You can't just live in your spreadsheet. You've got to be out there talking to the sales team, the marketing folks, the operations managers. You're the one who translates the big, scary financial targets from the boardroom into a real-world plan they can actually go and execute.
Okay, so how do you do all this? How do you actually solve these problems and guide the ship? Well, you've got a toolkit, a really powerful set of frameworks that are designed to bring clarity to all that chaos. Let's start with the absolute bread and butter, variance analysis. This is your detective work. The plan said we'd spend $1 million on marketing, but the actuals came in at $1.2 million. Your job isn't just to report the number. Your job is to grab your detective hat and find out why. And a great technique for that detective work is something called the 5 whys. You don't just stop at the first easy answer. You keep asking why, like a curious kid. You peel back the layers of the onion, moving past the symptoms until, bam, you hit the real root cause of the problem. That's how an architect finds a crack in the foundation.
Look, nobody has a crystal ball, right? So you can't just have one plan. That's where scenario analysis comes in. You build your forecast for what you think is most likely to happen. That's your base case. But then you also model the worst case, the bear case, and the best case, the bull case. This way, the business is ready for anything the world throws at it.
But here's the thing. Finding the answer is only half the job. I'm serious. If you can't communicate your findings in a clear and compelling way, all that brilliant analysis just vanishes into thin air. You have to be a storyteller. So when you're telling that story to your leaders, you want to build it on 4 main pillars. The first, and honestly the most important one, is cash. It's the oxygen of the business. You can have the best product in the world, but if you run out of cash, it's game over. Pillar number 2, profitability. This is all about efficiency. Are we actually making money on the things we sell? Is our business model healthy and sustainable for the long run? It's the engine's performance gauge. Third, you've got growth. Pretty straightforward, right? Are we getting bigger? Are we taking market share from our competitors? This is what drives the future value of the company, and it's what everyone, especially investors, keeps a close eye on. And last, but definitely not least, is risk. What's out there on the horizon that could sink our ship? A new competitor? A big economic downturn? Your job is to be the one in the crow's nest, spotting those icebergs long before they become a problem. If there's one quote you remember from all of this, make it this one. It is so true. See, profit can be shaped by different accounting rules and assumptions. It's like your on-paper salary, but cash is the cold, hard money in your bank account that you use to pay your rent. It's the ultimate reality check.
So what's a great way to actually structure that story for an executive who has like 5 minutes? Use the SBR framework. It's so simple and so powerful. Start with the situation. Here's what's going on. Then the complication. Here's the problem we're facing. And then you lead with the resolution. And here's what I think we should do about it.
You see, when you put all this together, the deep analysis and the clear storytelling, something really cool happens. You stop being the person who just reports the numbers. You become a strategic partner, someone they can't make a big decision without.
So what do you need to get there? Well, the foundation, for sure, is the hard skills. You've got to be a wizard in Excel. You need to know financial modeling. But the thing that really separates the great analysts from the good ones, it's business acumen. A real, deep understanding of how your company actually works and makes money.
And believe me, the payoff for building these skills is huge. This career path is no joke. FP&A is one of the most direct paths to becoming a CFO, precisely because you spend your whole career learning how everything connects. The strategy, the finances, the operations, you see the whole puzzle. So let's bring it all the way back to the beginning. The next time that CFO walks up to your desk and asks that big question, you're going to be ready. Because you won't just have a number pulled from a spreadsheet. You'll have a clear, confident, data-backed strategy. You won't just be an analyst anymore. You'll be the architect.